Welcome to XIO Voice. Continuing from the previous episode 168. Bang! The soul-stirring explosion sounded. A surging fire wave swept through the sky at this moment. The fire wave rolled and spread. The high temperature caused the city, which had turned icy cold because of the cold air covering it, to swiftly become warm. Countless numbers of eyes all over the city watched the fire wave spreading across the sky. Their eyes were filled with shock. Within less than 5 minutes, Xiao Yan had completed a perfect counterattack and turned the situation of him being continuously defeated around. By relying on his 2-star Dozong strength, he had defeated Protector Wu, whose strength had reached that of an 8-star Dozong. Such a situation was extremely unbelievable to everyone's eyes. The gap between every star in the Dozong class was unusually wide. Attempting to fight an opponent across stars was not something an ordinary person could accomplish. Yet the situation appearing in front of them caused the skin on the heads of quite a number of people to become numb. This fellow was really far too abnormal. Tian's group swiftly pulled some distance away in the face of the fire wave that was spreading over. His expression changed a little as he looked at the spreading fire wave. The frightening fighting strength that Xiao Yan had suddenly unleashed caused even him to feel somewhat afraid. The continuous string of high-class Do skills earlier possessed a destructive strength that was far too strong. Tian turned his head. He exchanged looks with a couple of Ice River Valley's elders. Some killing intent flashed across his eyes as he did so. This person already had such an advantage at such a young age. If he were allowed to grow, it was likely that he would become a great enemy of the Ice River Valley in the future. Therefore, this person must not be allowed to live. The members of the Yi clan within the Yi clan manor watched the extremely intense battle in the sky. They involuntarily inhaled a deep breath of cool air, especially Yi Zhang. His eyes revealed his disbelief. He had never expected this young man, who appeared ordinary on the surface, to be this terrifying once he erupted. No wonder Xin Lan is so certain that he can save our Yi clan. This person is indeed extraordinary. The spreading fire wave in the sky finally disappeared in front of a countless number of gazes. The scene within was also gradually revealed. The first thing that entered one's sight was the young man with his tidy clothes. The soul-stirring explosion from earlier did not cause him the slightest injury. His aura was still strong and mighty, causing one to feel shocked. There was a black figure suspended in the air opposite him. Clearly, that figure was Protector Wu, who had suffered a heavy blow from the fire lotus. However, at this moment, the permeating black fog around him had been completely exhausted. Having lost the cover of the black fog, Protector Wu's somewhat illusionary body was exposed in front of a countless number of eyes, sparking numerous exclamations. It is actually a spiritual body? This Hall of Souls is indeed strange. Even the protectors in the hall are spiritual bodies. No wonder they are gathering souls from all over the place. Could it be due to this? Protector Wu's eyes became slightly gloomy after hearing the many private conversations that were transmitted over. That fire lotus explosion from Xiao Yan earlier had destroyed his strongest defense. At the same time, it had caused him to suffer a serious injury. That jade-green fire lotus seemed to possess the effect of burning a soul, causing his entire body to be filled with an intense pain. Protector Wu's gaze flickered. His eyes were filled with unwillingness as he stared at Xiao Yan. However, he still felt extremely shocked at the frightening fighting strength that Xiao Yan had displayed earlier. Back then, when he had met Xiao Yan for the first time, Xiao Yan was merely a member of the younger generation who had yet to even reach the Do Huang class. Even after borrowing Yao Chen's spiritual strength, he had only just managed to reach the Do Zong class. In his eyes, Xiao Yan had been a weak ant. Now, however, the person who was once an ant in his eyes had completely defeated him. If he had not unleashed all of the spiritual aura in his body at a critical moment, it was likely that he would have died to that fire lotus. This brat was able to break into the hall twice. He does indeed have some ability. Protector Wu clenched his teeth. He seemed to have miscalculated the situation today. He had never expected the ant back then to be able to grow to this unbelievable stage after training for a few short years. Looks like I need to return and transmit this information so the Hall of Souls will dispatch some additional protectors over. This thought had just flashed through Protector Wu's heart when his heart abruptly tightened. His feet stepped on the ground as he hurriedly withdrew. When his body was withdrawing, a strange figure appeared at the spot where he was located earlier. A fist, that was wrapped by a jade-green flame, violently smashed against empty air. Some ripples even formed in the space where the fist landed. Once you have lost the black fog, you experts from the Hall of Souls are equivalent to a tiger having lost its claws. You pose no threat. A cold smile surfaced on Xiao Yan's face after his fist missed. His body shook and mysteriously disappeared. Protector Wu felt a chill rising in his heart when he saw Xiao Yan's figure disappear once again. This brat's speed was really too terrifying. He would not be afraid if he was still in his peak condition. However, after the Fire Lotus attack, his soul had already suffered a serious injury. He could no longer keep up with Xiao Yan's speed. Protector Wu's foot stepped against empty air. His figure transformed into a black shadow as it withdrew with lightning-like speed, but his withdrawing figure suddenly stiffened. His face was filled with shock as he hurriedly turned around. Black fog surged onto his hand and countless black shadows surged out of the black fog while emitting a sharp screech. After which, they suddenly exploded with a bang. The explosion formed a fierce circular ripple that spread apart. However, when it spread to a certain empty spot in the air, a fist with a burning jade-green flame viciously struck out. Protector Wu's attack was shattered until it withdrew. Immediately, Xiao Yan's attack penetrated through the remnant wave from the explosion and heavily smashed into Protector Wu's chest. Boom! Protector Wu's mouth immediately emitted a miserable cry after he was ruthlessly struck by a palm. His illusionary figure swiftly vibrated as his expression turned ghastly white. If this punch of Xiao Yan had not been blocked by the remnant waves of the exploding spirits, it was likely that it would have taken Protector Wu's life. Protector Wu borrowed this pushing force and his body flew back with lightning-like speed. A somewhat panicking screech was involuntarily emitted. Elder Tian, lend me a hand. Xiao Yan's ghost-like figure once again appeared in front of Protector Wu after the roar had just sounded. His face was lifted into a savage smile as a fist ruthlessly smashed against Protector Wu's head. If this punch made contact, Protector Wu's soul would definitely be shattered on the spot. Bang! A fist was swung. However, just when it was about to smash into Protector Wu's head, an elderly figure appeared in a lightning-like manner. His shriveled hand grabbed Xiao Yan's fist. Two frightening forces erupted from the point of contact before transforming into an air wave that spread apart. Young man, why is there a need to have such a strong killing aura? Tian held his snake-shaped walking stick. His other hand was grabbing Xiao Yan's fist as he slowly inquired. Are you finally unable to endure any longer? Xiao Yan's face gradually turned gloomy upon seeing Tian intervening. He let out a cold laugh before his leg gave a kick. A sharp force formed a blade at the tip of his toes while emitting a dark chill. Bang! Tian's expression was as deep as water. The snake-shaped walking stick in his hand shook strangely and blocked Xiao Yan's kick. Immediately, his body swiftly took a couple of steps back and brought Protector Wu, who was behind him, away at the same time. Elder Tian, help me capture this brat. The Hall of Souls will give you a big thanks. If you feel that it is troublesome, you can also just delay him. I have already unleashed a signal. Soon, there will be some experts from the Hall of Souls who will come to lend a hand. At that time, this brat will definitely have difficulty escaping. Protector Wu's eyes were vicious as they stared at Xiao Yan. His tone was dense when he spoke. At this moment, he also understood that with his strength alone, it was impossible to capture Xiao Yan. If he were to fight alone, he might even end up perishing in Xiao Yan's hands. He had narrowly kept his life during the few exchanges earlier. If it was not due to his luck, it was likely that he would have already died. Tian smiled and nodded in the face of Protector Wu's words. There would be quite a great benefit if it was possible to befriend a powerful faction like the Hall of Souls. Additionally, he already had a killing intent towards Xiao Yan in his heart. Naturally, he would not reject Protector Wu's request. Protector Wu, please rest assured. You can leave him to my Ice River Valley. Tian softly laughed. After which, his dark, dense eyes were turned to Xiao Yan. He waved his hand gently and said, Bing Zan, Bing Hua. This brat is a little strange. The two of you should join hands with me and use the fastest speed to capture him. The two Ice River Valley's elders by the side were startled when they heard his words. They immediately replied with some hesitation, Old Shei, there are so many people watching. Isn't it a little inappropriate for the three of us to attack a member of the younger generation together? Younger generation? Tian coldly laughed when he heard their question. He looked at the two of them and said, "Even if the two of you were to join hands to deal with this brat, it is likely that you would meet your doom, yet you dare address him as someone from the younger generation?" Bing Zan and Bing Hua were startled. Immediately, they felt some embarrassment. The strength of the two of them had only just reached that of 7-star Do Zongs. They were much weaker compared to Protector Wu. The miserable ending of Protector Wu earlier had been witnessed by them. If Tian Shi had not intervened, it was likely that he would have died to Xiao Yan's hands. Therefore, they were unable to find anything to refute Tian Shi's words. After all, his words were indeed true. Bing Zan and Bing Huo exchanged glances with one another before clenching their teeth and nodding their heads. Immediately, they moved their bodies and formed a triangular formation with Tian Shi, surrounding Xiao Yan in the process. Sharp auras slowly locked onto Xiao Yan. Numerous exclamations were immediately emitted from Yi City when they saw this scene in the sky. This Ice River Valley intended to deploy 3 elders at the same time to deal with that unfamiliar, young man. The questioning of others is merely just empty words. True reputation will only exist in the hands of those who survive. Those who bother about empty reputations will sooner or later perish. Tian Shi ignored the uproar below as his gaze slowly focused on Xiao Yan. Finally, he uttered those words in a slow manner. The you after using the Skyfire 3 mysterious change is indeed very strong. However, you cannot turn the situation around today. If you surrender now, you will still be able to avoid suffering. Xiao Yan scoffed at Tian Shi's words. His eyes swept around him, and his expression slowly became grave. 2 7-star Do Zongs and 1 Do Zong at the peak. With this lineup, it was really not difficult to capture and kill him. However, this was on the precondition of Xiao Yan not using his other trump cards. Unfortunately, Xiao Yan's expression gradually became calm. His hands were pressed gently together. After which, they formed many strange seals. Following the changing seals, the temperature around him suddenly soared. 5-ring flame expelling technique. 5-ring flame expelling technique. Tian Huo Zun Jie's ultimate move. Xiao Yan had never completely unleashed it ever since he had begun practicing it. Hence, he similarly had little knowledge of the might of this Do skill, which Tian Huo Zun Jie claimed to be almost comparable to a Tian class Do skill. Today, however, this Do skill was completely unleashed by Xiao Yan's hands because of this dangerous situation.